Hi and welcome to this episode of Children's Church Online. It is great to be with you doing some children's church. Even though we can't meet in person at the moment, we can still meet online and learn about God. And so we're going to go straight over to teaching time. Today's teaching, we continue with our adventures in the book of Acts. So there you go, I've already given you the book. So we're going to add some chapters and verses to it. And always, I am reading out of a child-friendly version, but I would encourage parents and carers out there to take the time with your child to go through this with a Bible so they get used to reading scripture. So here we go with today's scripture. As Peter was travelling through the area, he visited God's people who lived in Lydda. There he met a man named Aeneas who was paralysed and had not yet been able to leave his bed for the past 8 years. Peter said to him, "Aeneas, Jesus Christ heals you. Stand up and make your bed." Aeneas stood up immediately. All the people living in Lydda and on the plain of Sharon saw him and turned to the Lord. In the city of Joppa there was a follower named Tabitha. She was always doing good deeds and kind acts. While Peter was in Lydda, Tabitha became sick and died. Her body was washed up and put in a room upstairs. Since Lydda is near Joppa, the followers in Joppa heard that Peter was in Lydda. They sent 2 messengers to Peter. They begged him, "Hurry, please come to us." So Peter got ready and went with them. When he arrived, they took him to the upstairs room where all the widows stood around Peter, crying. They showed him the shirts and the coats Tabitha had made when she was alive. Peter sent everyone out of the room and kneeled and prayed. Then he turned to the body and said, "Tabitha, stand up." She opened her eyes, and when she saw Peter, she sat up. He gave her his hand and helped her up. Then he called the saints and the widows into the room and showed them that Tabitha was alive. People everywhere in Joppa learned about this, and many believed in the Lord. Peter stayed in Joppa for many days with the man named Simon, who was a leather worker. 2 great adventure stories there for you, where Peter was in 2 different situations where he prayed. And you know, we can pray to God and he will answer us. Can you remember the verse that we've been learning? Let me fill you in on this. Call to me, and I will answer you. I will tell you wonderful and marvellous things that you know nothing about. All God is wanting is for him to be called on, so we can call on God and he will answer us. And so now we're going to go over to a craft linked in with today's teaching. Hi and welcome to Caroline's Craft Corner. It is great to be with you. Shall we do some crafting together? Oh, you might need some things. Some pens, some pencils, some paper or card today, and some scissors, so assistance with younger children will be needed on this craft. Today's craft starts with either taking your piece of paper or card, folding it in half and cutting it in half. So you now have 2 pieces of card. So take one of them pieces of card, what you're going to need to do is fold it and cut it in half again. So you've got two smaller pieces of card and we're going to start making a bookmark with them. So you can either make two or you can just make the one. Now I'll show you my little design here, as you can see, because we've been talking about prayer. So I've put this abbreviation. So what that means is the first letter stands for a certain word. So this is GAWPP. So this stands for God answers when people pray. And then I've referenced in the scripture that we've been learning just there, which is Jeremiah 33:3 as well, and just drawn a picture of a telephone. So you could do a design similar to that, or you could be a little bit more creative and maybe draw some people praying on your bookmark. Now comes the fun part, which you all love, which is to decorate your craft. So use your pens, your pencils, and anything that you can find within a craft box. So some different craft items like stickers, you can use them as well to decorate your craft. I have finished my craft, so here we go. Ta-da! So as you can see, I've just added some colour, some outlines to my design. I would expect yours to be so much more colourful and so much better than this. But it's all about the message of this craft, is that when people pray, God answers. And we can have that in our hearts, that God will answer our prayers. Thank you for joining me again on this episode of Caroline's Craft Corner in conjunction with Children's Church Online, and I'll see you again next week. Bye bye.